Yeah, I know I'm late, toys. I basically it's one of those things where like last second my dog decides she's gonna go outside and start barking again, trying to go take care of her. It's like it was already under a minute to go before starting the show, so that's why I'm late. But thank you for being here, toys. Really do appreciate it and appreciate the like and the share as well. Of course, we're just gonna wait a few minutes here, give some of the other guys a chance to get in here. So, how was your day today? Hopefully, it went well for you. All good. I had the day off. Oh, okay, so that was good. uh, so, are you pretty much throughout most of the week still having to get up pretty early to go to work? Now that I've got three people here, so that's good to see. Hopefully, everybody had a good day today. We're waiting a few minutes here to give some more people a chance to get in here before we get started. Yes, up early to drive while it's still dark out. Laugh out loud. Hmm. Yeah, traveling when it's still dark. It's kind of you know it can be a bit hectic. Huh. So, yeah, have you been able to do much with your like toy remodeling stuff, or is basically you've been focusing more on your job lately? I don't know if caught what I last said there. I'll repeat it just in case you didn't. I was asking toys if you were still finding that you had time to do your toy remodeling stuff, or were you have you been pretty much just focused on your job lately? Your current job. Oh, on and on and on and on. For you may laugh, but you did not do your math. Oh, what a day! Oh, what a day! On and on and on and on. Hmm. Did you step back from the computer or something, toys? I know I've got at least a couple lurkers in here, I guess now. Just gonna wait a few more minutes here. Hmm. Well, Toys, I hope you'll be able to make it tomorrow night for the Struggle Comic Retrospect. I'm sure enjoy that when Batgoat and I look over comics that went on sale from June of. I'm sorry, we're going to be finishing off May of '38 from Centaur and David McKay. So, she drives me crazy. Ooh, ooh, and all night help myself. Let's see now. So we're coming up on a 6.5. Give it another minute or so, and then I'll probably start getting going here. We got like 3 people here right now, so it looks like I got a couple of hers. I might I'll give it at least another minute or so before I get going here. Excuse me again. Chloe's barking again. I'll be right back, guys. All right. Yeah, so somebody left us before we even got started. All right, so we're coming up on 8 minutes here, so I'll go. I guess I'll go ahead and tell you all what's on tap for tonight. So we got like 9 stories tonight. 3 comics related, 6 anime related. All 3 comics related stories are from Bounding into Comics. The 6 anime related stories are from CBR. Among those, let's talk Nietzsche. Yeah, well, yeah, that's what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna get into the news here. The Nietzsche news. Um, Chuck Dixon made some comments in regards to let me see, regards to let's see, what did he make comments? Let's see. Oh, he was talking about how DC had stopped paying freelancers international royalties years ago. Also, YouTuber Razorfist um, they calls on people to reject modernity and modern day Marvel and DC superheroes in favor of pulp heroism. And then there's a little article here on Batman Fear State sees Scarecrow strike terror across Gotham. And I know from the anime side of it, let's see, you got, I think, like the 6 most depressing or disappointing anime. You got the 6 most surprising anime, and in between all that, you got some ghostly anime. You got a couple of announcements from Funimation, and a little bit more. So, anyways, so let's see. We're now at the just past the 10-minute mark. So let's go ahead and get started on the on the newscast here. See what stories we'll cover here over the next couple of hours here. Oh, that's good. I got another like there. That was cool. All right. So without any further ado, let's get into these stories tonight. First one here is this one. Batman scribe Chuck Dixon reveals DC Comics stopped paying their freelancers international royalties years ago. Article by J.B. Augustine published yesterday. Or, I'm sorry, not yesterday, 2 days ago, actually. This was published on Wednesday. Seen this, but it was like the only story up. Um, so here we go. As if the reputation of the Western comic book industry and DC in particular wasn't already. Oh wait, yeah, it was a couple days ago. Well, anyways, in particular, wasn't already bad enough. Prolific and celebrated creator Chuck Dixon has one more log to add to the fire. Oh, this is going to be interesting. From Sweet Cast YouTube channel. So that's Chuck Dixon right there. That I believe is Chuck Dixon right there. Among some of the other great comics and cartoonists, across history, Chuck Dixon, Chuck Schultz, Chuck Jones. So, anyways, in a recent Facebook post, Dixon divulged that DC has not paid international royalties for the overseas reprints of their works in other languages since at least 2009. Oh, that's not good. Which was well over a decade ago, before the launch of the New 52. Quote, seriously, DC Comics stopped paying freelancers any international royalties in 2009, unquote. Yeah. I don't know how they got away with that, but Dixon shockingly revealed, adding he and others never received any notice, and the DC office acted like it was no big deal. Quote, they never sent out any of their patented friendly letters to inform us. They just stopped paying and hoped no one would notice. Yeah. When you've been getting a check for a while and you're not getting it, and you have absolutely no why, yeah, you're gonna notice that. You're gonna notice that. When you stop getting a check that you know you should be getting, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to notice that, especially when it's a big part of how you survive, basically. How you're able to like keep your home and feed yourself and take care of your needs and your family's needs and all that. What's worse than the dishonesty and callous and inattention DC showed, Dixon continued, is that withholding of royalties really hits writers, artists, and industry pros with a lot of noteworthy titles to their name in their wallets, especially when the foreign publishing market continues an upward trajectory. So, given the fact that foreign publishing, particularly in Europe, is more robust than ever, writers, artists, and others are being cheated out of thousands of dollars annually, unquote, he said. So, wow, that's kind of interesting. Hmm. Yeah, that can't hurt you when all of a sudden the check you've been dependent upon for a long time stops coming, and just stops coming. There's no reason given. You just all of a sudden just wait, where? I should be getting a check. Why am I not getting a check? This is only the second time the Batman scribe has talked about this scandalous information, having addressed it once before on the on the unauthorized TV series on comics. I'm in year one there. Look at that little smirk by Robin. Robin, year one by Chuck Dixon and Scott Beatty. This is when Chuck Dixon was writing the Robin character. This is long before they were trying to turn him gay. So Dixon had nothing to do with that. In fact, he's been kind of against that idea altogether. So, anyways, Dixon addressed his direct experience with international publishing and variant translations of DC graphic novels earlier this year on an episode of his YouTube show Ask Chuck Dixon, wherein he explained that you can only get an abridged trade paperback of his pivotal story Joker's Last Laugh in another language. In another case of the company being misers, DC offered to let Dixon write an introduction to fill in gaps with the English translation, but wouldn't pay him anything. Oh boy, yeah, that's a real nice way of treating somebody. Yeah, yeah, we want you to go ahead and write something for us, but we don't want to pay you for it. Yeah, I'm sure that's a double fisted. That's a double fisted middle finger salute. You know, you know, with everything on it. The cover of the Nightfall series. I've seen Graham Nolan quite a bit on EVS's streams before. More recently, Dixon discussed the future of DC and Marvel as the giants of the industry, saying that the big two are in a quote. And we saw this article too. This article is from last week. It's part of the article is from last week. Quote, a suicide pact with themselves to destroy American comics, unquote, he observed. Quote, I'm beginning to believe that they are doing it intentionally, and I don't think in a year from now DC or Marvel are going to exist as we see them today or as we ever remembered them, unquote. And I know Yellow Flash, as I mentioned when we were talking about this last week too, Yellow Flash also made a lot of those same statements. Um, he's made a lot of those same statements in regards to that. That at the rate they're going, they're not going to be the same company that everybody remembers them. Are you shocked by Chuck Dixon's latest revelation, or do you agree with his prediction about? No, based on what I've been seeing, and he's not the only one who's been saying that either. There have been other people have been saying it too. So I think it's become pretty. It's a pretty common belief at this point, and that is exactly what's going to happen. Is that you know I know that as I said, I know that Yellow Flash has talked quite a bit about it. So anyway, well, before I do get to the next article, I've got to go grab some water. So I'll be right back. Be right back. All right. Be right back. All right, I'm back, and it looks like we have some more people in here. That's good. Hopefully, hopefully everybody is good today. We just got through the first story, so we're going to be moving on to the second story now. So, anyways, moving on. And of course, this today not only was Chuck Dixon mentioning some of this, but so apparently YouTuber Razor Fist also had something to say. YouTuber Razor Fist calls on people to reject modernity and modern day Marvel and DC superheroes in favor of pulp heroism. Article by John F. Trent, published earlier today. All right, so YouTuber Razor Fist on his channel, The Rageaholic, called on people to reject modernity and modern DC and Marvel comics in favor of pulp heroism. This, I guess, is in the comics, movies, and television section here. The YouTuber raged, quote, if you are weary of watching people with giant muscles and bleeping superpowers sob at their problems, while Wonder Woman braids her armpit hairs and grouses about gender quotas. Oh boy, I think he's got a real pulse on it. It may be time for you to make the same jump I did some time ago. And I know, like RJ Carter, Critical Blast, has been helping to promote a lot of these guys have been doing, what this guy Razorfist is talking about. There's a lot of indie comic guys out there who have gone more pulp or other, down other avenues, in making their comics. So if you guys haven't checked out RJ's daily interviews, you guys should go ahead and do that. They're on his channel, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, on his channel. So bleep Marvel, disregard DC, and embrace the bleeping pulp, he exclaimed. Quote unquote. The Phantom Gold Key. So this was probably from when this one right here is probably from when Gold Key was licensing other properties a while back. In fact, a 12-cent, let's see, now only 12 cents. So this was definitely back probably in the 50s or 60s. That's, Phantom Races through. The Phantom was, of course, originally a King Feature Syndicate character. Um, so Razor Fist then goes on to define what exactly pulp is. Quote, Pulp Fiction, apart from being an impossibly overrated movie, is simply short stories. That's it. Ever read a bleeping short story for one of your SATs or some bleep congrats if you made it about a detective, cowboy, Air Force pilot, or bleeping vigilante and printed it with a cover, you just read a bleeping pulp. Yeah, a lot. Well, again, a lot of the pulp magazines from back in the 30s and stuff that we've been, quote, now add in the occasional gorgeous black and white illustration and plot driven action packed pistol play, eternally abundant. That's pulp, baby. unquote. He added. The YouTuber then begins to list out a number of pulp heroes as recommendations for people to read and watch instead of modern Hollywood movies. Comment. Zorro. And archives, AM Archives, The Mask of Zorro, #1, 1949, Dell edition. So this came from Dell Comics originally. Mark of Zorro. And Zorro, I know, was made. It was made into at least a couple of cartoons. There was a 1981 cartoon, and then I think there was an early 90s cartoon. And I also recently saw that there was also an anime. So he started off with Zorro saying, quote, "Who could be more influential than one of the original masked men? The ageless swashbuckler Zorro," unquote. Razorfist goes on to explain why he believes the character is ageless. Quote, "While the character of Zorro himself has many of the magnetic qualities of Solomon Kane, the Shadow, and Batman, and it's kind of funny they mentioned the Batman right there because I believe in the early 80s there, Zorro was part of the same, may have been part of the same Saturday morning lineup that Batman was for a while there. I think what truly kept his character alive for a bleeping century is as much the setting as anything else, unquote. Yeah, Zorro did have a pretty unique setting. You know, the kind of the Mexican Old West, the Mexican rancheros, the setting for Zorro, and those rancheros can be, and we have them, of course, here in California too, up and down the coast. You know, I've been to a few of the missions, stuff like that. Mhm. Quote, "All the adventure of the Old West with the flintlocks and the bleeping swordplay of the Three Musketeers, all propelled by a principal character who boasts the inimitable mystique of Alexander Dumas." That's Dumas, not dumb A double S, as the guys in Shawshank Redemption thought it was. The name is pronounced Dumas. Um, other enduring creation, the Count of Monte Cristo, unquote. He explains. Let's see. Let's see if there's much more being said thus far. No, I guess we did at least get some likes. That's good. All right. Thank you guys for the likes and shares as well. Then we get some more people in here. Let's see. While Zorro has a lengthy catalog to choose from, Razorfist recommends his first story. Quote, "If you've not yet parted the papyrus and read Zorro's inaugural appearance in 1919's The Curse of Capistrano, GD, do it. It's quick, it's fun, and did I mention it's bleeping free now? Yeah, it's probably because it's considered public domain. Saturday, August 9th, 10 cents per copy by the year. The Curse of Capistrano by Johnson McCulley. Author Broadway Bab, Captain PJ Monahan, public domain via Wikimedia Commons. The Shadow. The Shadow knows. Another old time hero here. Charles Joseph Cole, 1889 to 1949. And we actually have seen some of Charles Cole's work already. And I think we saw it just last week in one of the Dell stories, I believe. I believe it was a Myra North story. That's some of his artwork as well. Public domain. Let's see. So he was just shy of a 60. He was 59 when he passed away. Next, Razorfist recommends The Shadow. He notes, quote, it was the late 20s and the early 30s, a period not coincidentally referred to as the Red Decade. Marxism and all of its socio-political underpinnings had suffused society to an extent not seen since, unquote. Quote, gray morality, corrupt prohibitionists, and unintelligible gangsters. Dealt death in the streets, while ever more civil liberties were surrendered to government, from gun rights to the ability to buy booze. All during a depression that combined to cultivate a populace more powerless than ever. And then a blood-curdling laugh reverberated through the concrete crags of urban New York, unquote. He continued. Excuse me a moment, guys. I need to go off screen here for a moment. Hey, Woody. Be with you in just a moment here. So let's see what you just said there, Woody. And then Guy Williams played Will Robinson's father and then disappeared back to South America. Yeah, I believe, as you said, Guy Williams was the live action actor who played Zara, as I recall. Quote, an unbending, uncompromising avenger of evil, for whom right was right. Okay. Right was right. Wrong was wrong, and the sentence was invariably death. Not always from himself, mind you. More often, the shadow would engineer a demise that would only befall the villain, if and when that villain attempted to take life of an innocent. Often with an ironic underpinning to punctuate the gesture, unquote, Razor Fifth asserted. He goes on to specifically recommend The Black Master, saying, quote, I just finished rereading The Black Master, only the 8th issue of the Shadow magazine, and far away one of the finest Shadow stories, unquote. Razor Fifth even provides an excerpt from the story, which you can watch in the video above. Doc Savage. Man of Bronze, Doc Savage. The next pulp character Razor Fifth recommends is Doc Savage. He states, quote, "It takes a Chad to create a Chad. And that's precisely what happened here. What happened when real life adventurer, world traveler, member of the Explorers Club, and pulp writer Lester Dent sank his teeth into Doc Savage." He noted, quote, "The Man of Bronze spun out of the incredible success of The Shadow in 1933 so explicitly, in fact, that his initial audition for the character came when he was asked to write a one off Shadow story to help ease Walter B. Gibson's unearthly twice a month workload. The result, the Golden Vulture, one of the more action packed characters of the Shadow's early years, but one that sat in a safe for nearly a decade before Gibson reworked it, released it, whereupon it served as the partial plot basis for the Shadow film serial in 1940. Shadow and Doc Savage. I see Van, Stan, um, Mannequin, and Razorfist states, quote, "What Shadow is to Batman, Doc Savage is to Superman." Okay. I guess that's a very interesting comparison to make. Who is essentially four parts Doc, one part John Carter of Mars, from his Arctic fortress solitude to his Man of Bronze eponym, superior strength. Hell, he's even described as Superman, published over five bleeping years before Action Comics #1. It came up in 1933, and then and then Superman was introduced in 1938, or 1930. Yeah. So he continued, quote, "As for Doc Savage himself, you need to think like Superman with a side of Indiana Jones and a dash of Sherlock Holmes and only 5 exceptional agents to the Shadow's dozens of agents. Warring with everything from crooked businessmen to Mayan monsters, imbibing intrigue with a side of sci-fi, the variety and nonstop action of Doc Savage proved a profound enough formula. Doc Savage novels are still being printed at present." Unquote. Quote, "Far from a feckless modern Marvel or DC superhero hand rings his way through stories that celebrate his inadequacy and lack of mortal certitude. Doc Savage's credo is as um, blindingly BA as his bronze skin," unquote, he declares. And then Marvel got hold of the Doc Savage license for a while there, it looks like. The Rocketeer. I wonder if this is the comic that was based on the movie from a few years ago. What you guys might be saying here. What evil lurks in the hearts of men, the Shadow knows. Unless I like drawing, yes. Ooh, nice. I like the drawings. All right, man. Continuing on here. Razorfish then pointed to the Rocketeer, saying, quote, "Now here I'm cheating a bit, but much like the Phantom, who I also recommend, the Rocketeer is often lumped in with this era of creations. This despite the fact that his first issue emerged in the 1980s. If he's going to try to say that the Phantom is from the 80s, that's not completely correct. But we'll get to that in a moment. Talking about the Phantom there. But anyways, quote, "The reasons for such are obvious. He may not be a product of the 30s, but he spiritually and morally embodies the entirety of it, from his Buck Rogers and Commando Cody inspirations to his 1930s setting to the almighty Mauser strapped to his hip," quote, the YouTuber continued. He elaborated, quote, "The Rocketeer, despite never, to my knowledge, being featured in actual prose novels, is more pulp than some actual pulp, and apart from the excellent movie, this recommendations portion is going to be a bit of a quickie because there's really only one set of Rocketeer comics. Um, Everything created by his original creator, Dave Stevens, which thankfully has been helpfully compiled into a solitary collection called The Rocketeer, The Complete Adventures, keyword complete. There is nothing before this, there is nothing after this. Quote, "Because after that it's nothing but dog doo-doo. Disney fan fiction and a horrifically exploitive IDW comics. Dog bleep called Rocketeer Adventures." Okay, Razorfish added. Solomon Kane. Solomon Kane is Razorfish's next recommendation. He stated, quote, "Which brings me to someone you should really be familiar with, Solomon Kane," unquote. Quote, "Let's just look at this BA. Slouch hat, flintlocks, saber, and a MFR musket. MFing musket. Sounds like a Civil War guy. Okay. I'm bleeping I'm bleeping Diamond hard. Um, Diamond hard. Um, Straight men. Um, just looking at him, and more to the point, he illustrates several aspects of the pulp era. Protagonist: an unending iron will, perfectly defined moral code, and in the capacity to surprise the reader by employing all of the above in error, unquote, he remarked. He then stated, quote, "Sure, Solomon Kane starts out his adventures happening upon a dying Maiden a woman he has never known, never will, and in an instant of moral certitude and a single phrase defines himself and his motivations outright. Sword of Solomon Kane, #1. Razorfish continued to explain why Solomon Kane is so compelling. Quote, but the story of Solomon Kane is, I would argue, more compelling than Conan because as this dour sword-sworn Puritan avenger stalks the earth in search of heathens and hellish abominations to slay, he actually encounters such cruelty, avarice, and other worldly eldritch horrors, even he begins to doubt his faith, unquote. Discussing Robert E. Howard's, quote, Wings in the Night, unquote, Razorfish stated, quote, his heart blackened and his faith at his lowest ebb. This is where an utterly bleeping modern marvel yarn would have him make a heel turn or get snapped out of existence by a purple Shrek, or these days have his job done for him by some pangendered sea anima in a Ms. Marvel outfit. Okay. Unquote. Okay, nice, very descriptive descriptor there, Mr. Razorfish. Gotta go. Lazarus broke well, I hope he's okay. I know you got to take care of him, but thank you for being here anyways. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night. But take care of him, man. Get your son. Talking about the Rocketeer being from the 80s. Yeah. Well, yeah, because the Phantom I know wasn't from the 80s. Okay, that much I can tell you. It wasn't original. Even though they did put together a group of King Feature Syndicate characters to have that one cartoon show, 1986, Defenders of the Earth. The Phantom was a part of that with Flash Gordon, Mandrake, and Lothar. So, ouch toys. That's one of them fat bones. More people wrecking cars and breaking bones. It's been a rough week. Anyways, getting back to the article here. He added, quote, but here's where the pulp protagonist stands utterly apart because then Bleep gets Solomon Kane. He massacres the Paleolithic villains, sending them screaming back to hell. And then he stands atop a mountain overlooking the ravaged countryside and offers a blood-soaked sermon as epitaph. Ooh, Solomon Kane Red Shadows #1. A Simple Art of Murder. Yes, by Raymond Chandler. Finally, Razorfish recommends The Simple Art of Murder by Raymond Chandler. He noted, quote, but this steely savagery isn't reserved for the sword and sorcery genre. In fact, I'd argue as the genre's pulp protagonist are portrayed more and more as gray by the bloviating snake oil salesman in the current entertainment industry, the more the men featured within those stories start to resemble the very whitest of white knights, unquote. End quote. And here I am very much talking about the rudiments of film noir, more particularly the pulp detective stories that started the celluloid hoedown with a double shot of whiskey and a cyanide chaser, unquote, he added. He then got to The Simple Art of Murder, quote, Raymond Chandler's The Simple Art of Murder codified this phenomenon in profound fashion when he simultaneously defined his own idea of a hero and threw a monkey wrench in the moral ambiguity brigade's BS when they claim film noir, which is largely cribbed from Raymond Chandler's books, is about gray morality, unquote. I gotta step away from the computer here for a moment. I'll be right back, guys. Right back, Woody. All right, I'm back. Had to take care of a few things. Okay. All right, so let's see. All right, so getting back to the article here. Razorfish elucidated his point by quoting from The Simple Art of Murder, quote, "But down these mean streets a man must go who is not himself mean, who is neither tarnished nor afraid. The detective in this kind of story must be such a man. He is the hero. He is everything. He must be a complete man and a common man, and yet an unusual man. He must be, to use a rather weathered phrase, a man of honor, by instinct, by inevitability, without thought of it, and certainly without saying it." Unquote. He continued the quote from The Simple Art of Murder, quote, "He must be the best man in the world, and a good enough man for any world. I do not care much about his private life. He is neither a eunuch nor a satyr. I think he might seduce a duchess, and I am quite sure he would not spoil a virgin. If he is a man of honor in one thing, he is that in all things. He is a relatively poor man, or he would not be a detective at all. He is a common man, or he could not go among common people. He has a sense of character, or he would not know his job." Unquote. Quote, "He will take no man's money dishonestly, and no man's insolence without a due and dispassionate revenge. He is a lonely man, and his pride is that you will treat him as a proud man, or be very sorry you ever saw him." Mhm. Yeah, we need more guys like that to step up like that. He talks as the man of his age talks. That is, with rude wit, lively sense of the grotesque, a disgust for sham, and a contempt for pettiness. The story is this man's adventure in search of a hidden truth, and it would be no adventure if it did not happen to a man fit for adventure. He has a range of awareness that startles you, but it belongs to him by right. Because it belongs to the world he lives in, if there were enough like him, the world would be a very safe place to live in, without becoming too dull to be worth living in. The YouTuber, unquote, the YouTuber concluded the quote. As the video came to a conclusion, Razorfist issued a call to battle. Quote, "Unlike your fathers and grandfathers who sat stoically with a thumbs up their bleeps as the culture warped around about them, it's time to rear back and bleeping surpass them." Unquote. Folks, it's time to stop retreating from the culture and become the bleeping culture. Reject modernity. Embrace pulp. Embrace un, untrammeled heroism. Remake modernity and remake morality. Unquote, he concluded. While not specifically highlighted by Razorfist, he did mention other pulp heroes like the Phantom, the Spirit, and John Carter of Mars. Other popular pulp characters include Buck Rogers, Tarzan, Cole, Kazar the Spider, the Black Bat, Dan Turner, and El Coyote. Well, but even before Dell got hold of the Tarzan stuff, as we know, United Features was doing it early on. What do you make of Razorfit's call to reject? Yeah, I think a lot of people have been calling for that and embrace pulp heroism. I think there have been a lot of people have been calling to do that. All right, so let's see what's up. Yeah, we're just past the hour mark. Whichever cathedral, or Winchester Cathedral, you're bringing me down. You stood and you watched as my baby left town. Oh, vode, oh, do. Oh, that doesn't get you a copyright strike. Hmm. Hey, Mike, Toys, Woody, how are you guys? How are y'all today? As always, driving to work. Hey, Leto, thanks for coming in. How about with a like and a share? That would really help out. See if we can get some more people in here. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Hi, Leto, drive safely. If you can read this, your eyes are off the road. All right, so now we get up to 4 people. All right, so moving on to the next article here. Batman Fear State sees Scarecrow strike terror across Gotham. Article by J.B. Augustine published earlier today. October is here, which, well, not quite, will be here tomorrow, which means it's a perfect time for Dr. Jonathan Crane, a.k.a. the Scarecrow, to strike terror into Gotham City again. And now he's getting even deeper into the head of Batman than ever before. If that wasn't bad enough, he may have also uncovered Bat's true identity. DC Comics and a creative team led by the pen of James Tynion IV said goodbye to Future State and kicked off Halloween early when they ushered in the latest Bat event, Fear State, in Batman number 12, or number 112 in September. In the issue, it was revealed that Bruce has been captured and held prisoner by Scarecrow, who is craftier and more fearsome than ever, for an undetermined amount of time. Well, that's kind of where he was supposedly had disappeared to, I guess. He was able to break free, but Bruce doesn't know how much Crane may have learned when he was in captivity under the influence of Crane's fear toxin. Scarecrow could know his archenemy's true identity is Batman. Remember, Bruce Wayne is the mask. Whether he has or not is unclear, but that knowledge would give Crane an edge over the Dark Knight that he's never had before, except in the present season of Titans on HBO Max. What we do know is Bruce can still feel the master of fear in his head, despite having cleansed himself of the toxin. And then Volume 3, number 112, Fear State 2021, and covered by Jorge Jimenez and Tomu More. Losing the advantage of his secret identity, he may be compelled to leave Gotham and hand the mantle of the Dark Knight to somebody else. The fact such a development already happened in John Ridley's The Next Batman with Lucius Fox's son Tim taking on the job suggests Batman might chicken out and actually do it this time, without having fulfilled his goal of saving Gotham. It happened before in TV shows such as Titans, Batwoman, and Birds of Prey, and considering what DC is like today creatively, don't be surprised if Tinyon goes that route. Yeah, to just kind of just totally tank on the on the classic characters there. Hey, sup, bro daddies? I put a brand new $25 disc in the drink today. It was magic. Okay, cool. Ooh, fun. That's about a steak dinner's worth. Uh, I know I was thrown it around. I had thrown it around 3 or 4 times. Huh? Okay. All right. Well, let's get this. All right. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. Hey, Batgoat, thank you for coming in, and I appreciate all the likes and shares, guys. That helps with the algorithm. Scarecrow's plans have been brewing since Future State, so he's had time to spread his fear everywhere and psych out everyone, including the Bat. Working with industrialist Simon Saint, CEO of Saint Industries and creator of the Peacekeeper unit that's currently putting the city in a stranglehold, Scarecrow is developing a secret ploy to enact the fear state and spur Gotham to, quote, evolve beyond its current existence, unquote. I guess, is that supposed to be what Scarecrow looks like now? Naturally, Scarecrow goes rogue and leaves Saint in such a lurch that he unleashes a new Peacekeeper in the seriously upgraded Model X, while the X's predecessor, Peacekeeper 01, turns up after going missing. Unfortunately for the people of Gotham, who are already boarding up windows and steering clear of the streets, Peacekeeper 01 is in a crazed frenzy brought on by fear toxin that has him believing everyone in sight is a cannibal out to eat him. Oh boy, that's got to be a horrific thing to have run in your mind. Everybody you see is looking to eat you. Where is the rest of the Bat family in all this? Namely, Barbara Oracle Gordon. She was locked out of her connection to Gotham servers and mainframe by an quote unquote anti Oracle, who drew inspiration from the Gotham government's order that Gothamites should stay in their homes because the air and water are toxic in order to, quote, cut off Oracle from the outside world. big things are in store for the rest of Fear State, such as the return of new characters, including Ghostmaker, Clown Hunter, and Miracle Molly. And afterwards, additionally, none other than the Joker teased something big coming in his own title, but that's another story. Written by James Tynion IV, and with art by Jorge Jimenez and colors by Tomu More. The Fear State saga wends its way through the pages of Batman, starting in issue number 112, Catwoman, and Nightwing. The key entries are being collected in the Batman Volume 5 Fear State hardcover, which is expected to release in March 2022. Batman Fear State Alpha number 1. Have you been keeping up on Fear State? Let us know what you think in the comments below. All right, so let's see what we got here before we set that go. Wow, we got 8 people in here. Yay, 8 people. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the content. Hey, Leto, Woody. Fear toxin and internet gas. Well, Batgoat fear toxin is that's actually that's not that's not like a modern thing. Actually, that fear toxin's been a part of Scarecrow's arsenal, essentially, at least since the '90s, I believe, since post crisis. Basically, what you have to remember is in post crisis continuity, Scarecrow was a psychologist specializing in fear. So, Woody, you've been catching the Ralph Nick drama? The short heard around the world. Alright, anyway, so let's get ready to move on to the next article, as we still have 6 to go, but these ones should probably go a little quicker. They're on CBR. Now getting into the anime portion of the stories here. It's not much to change this. All right. Now we're going to, and we should probably, as I said, be able to breeze through these pretty quick, because usually these do go pretty quickly as compared to the stuff I'm bounding into comics. That's why we're going to do more of these stories. Granted, we're at hour 16 already, but I think I'll still be able to make it. Got 6 stories left to go here, so here we go. 6 anime that were huge disappointments. These are the disappointing animes. Despite having every advantage to becoming a hit, these animes failed to impress and let down audiences who had been expecting something special. Article by Lara Adams, published 14 hours ago. An anime can have everything going for it. The trailers look good, the characters interesting, the staff superb, and the show is a disaster. Bad show is easy to make. Some shows seem to take everything that could easily make them amazing and completely squander the opportunity, gradually sinking into mediocrity, and then straight on down to terrible. These 6 anime, from Charlotte to Psychopaths, were complete disappointments um, that could have been so much more, but instead ended up even worse for how hard they let their audiences down. Kids Niver. I actually liked Kids Niver. I thought that was a cool show. Let's see what they have to say about it here. Is it looked like Studio Trigger had done it again. The character designs make every frame a treat to look at. The opening song is a jam, which is true. The opening song was a jam. Um, I could see a lot of people dancing to it at some European discotheque. And there seemed to be just the right amount of trigger absurdity that makes a studio so special. So how did Kidsniver end up being so boring? Unquote. It doesn't help that the main character is the least interesting of the entire cast, but nor that 2 separate love triangles were a waste of time. Hmm. Maybe I can see some of what let's see how they expound on that. I think the main character they're talking about is that girl at the far left there. Uh, But perhaps the problem was that for a show meant to be about connection, Kisniver completely fails to connect with the audience. Although the characters are meant to feel each other's pain, the fact that the pain belongs to the group makes it easy to disregard the individual. Okay, I guess I can kind of see their point there. What should have been a highly emotional sequence of events is easy to detach from, since the characters involved never give any real reason to care. Most of them incredibly bland despite their flashy appearance. Okay, I don't think they're bland. Okay, I don't. Maybe I can see them saying that the main character is bland, but the rest of them, I would not agree. Perhaps by the end there were some interesting revelations, but at that point it was too late to get invested. Okay. I could I've seen Conniver. I could see some of their points, but I think a counter to that is that there were 7 characters here that were representing, you know, Japanese interpretation on the 7 deadly sins. Okay. I thought it was a very interesting and intriguing portrayal of it. Okay. Yeah, I could see for some people maybe the plot kind of went a little slow at times, and that's maybe what they're talking about here. But it was a good show. Maybe they could have stretched things out a little bit and maybe dug in a little bit more and did a little bit more here and there. But but I don't know this is as disappointing as as this writer was making it sound. Kids Niva was as disappointed as they want to make it sound. Anyways, I gotta go off camera here for a moment. I'll be right back. Really getting up though. That's good. Let me see now. Now that I'm back, let me just look like Dave came in. Jeopardy music. Let's see. Oh yes, it's absolutely hilarious. I got caught. I got good and caught up this afternoon. Howdy, sorry I'm late. Got caught up in the stuff. Hey Dave, welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here, man. And thank you, of course, for the like and share. Helping to get more people in here. Um, he's really losing his mind to definitely funny to watch. I guess Ralph is losing his mind, I guess. Dave. If I'm interpreting the conversation right there. That's on nostalgia. I remember having had some of that once. Well, in a way, we talk nostalgia a lot. I can play Quake 2 in my phone. Life is good. All right. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. Oh yeah. Okay. Tales of Zestiria. Now this is one I haven't seen, so let's see what they have to say about this. The Tales of video game franchise had worked with Studio Ufotable before for cutscenes in the Tales of Zestiria game and even for an OVA. The Tales of Zestiria game has a solid plot and enjoyable cast, the recipe for a successful adventure anime. Ufotable had successfully pulled off Unlimited Blade Works in 2014. I know one of their earliest works is actually Ninja Nonsense. One of Ufotable's earliest works was Ninja Nonsense. That was pretty funny. So the decision to make another game-based anime for 2016 seemed solid, especially since they'd already made the Zestiria OVA. However, the Zestiria anime is a complete mess. The pacing is terrible, even including a full 2-episode advertisement for an upcoming game, and the most intriguing characters spend the majority of their time invisible, as if the game mechanic of, quote, one player on the field at a time, unquote, still has effect in the show. Tales of Zestiria, with 2 seasons of forced character interaction and a nonsense plot that didn't even pull through on the game's biggest twist, cheapening the game's emotional ending. There's a good reason that Tales of Berseria hasn't had an anime adaptation. Charlotte. Now Charlotte is another one that I have actually seen. So let's see what they have to say now. Maybe give a little bit more deeper comment. See if I agree with what they have to say. Charlotte has a cool premise on top of being funny and entertaining, and just squeaking in ahead of the rush of the superpower craze. However, the tonal shifts happen much too quickly for an anime of only 13. Well, I could see that reasoning there, 'cause it did seem to run quick for 13. They may have tried. Maybe they should have tried to really stretch things out a bit more. The main character starting off by joining the student council, ending by traveling the world for a year, slowly losing his mind in order to steal every other superpower in existence, is a lot to take in. Yeah, yeah. I mean, throw in a couple of deaths that may or may not be fixed by time travel, and it's complete whiplash. Perhaps it would have worked over a 24 episode show, but Charlotte messed up by trying to be too many things at once: cutesy hijinks, superpowers, secret organizations, terrorists, a time travel conundrum, a romance, and a psychological slow slide into yeah. I would have to I would have to say I agree with that analysis. Charlotte did seem to be kind of very snap quick. They could have maybe stretched out that anime quite a bit, let things play out a little bit more naturally. I can see that. I can see that. Psychopath season 2. Is anywhere I'm at on time. Oh, well, we're at an hour 29. I may have to try to be a bit quicker here if I'm going to get through everything. That's. Oh, okay. Hey, Dave from Leto. Evening, Leto. Howdy, Woody. All right, so you guys just kind of chatting back and forth. All right, so I know that I should probably go ahead and try to get a little quicker here because we're coming up on an hour and a half already here. So here we go with Psychopath season 2. There were a lot of factors that led to the disaster that was season 2 of Psychopaths. First, it had so much to live up to with the success of season 1. Then there was the fact it only had 11 episodes to try to cram the same caliber story into. Then there's the fact that half of a cast that became beloved during season 1 is no longer there. Yeah, massive changes between two seasons can really kill. With Kagari and Masaoka dead and Kogami gone, only Yayoi, Shion, uh, Ginoza, and Akane remain of the original crew. The fact that newbie Mika ends up taking up a lot of screen time and is generally irritating and dismissive towards the enforcers doesn't make it any easier to watch Akane try to practically solo the WC murders. I wonder if WC that's for like like I think internationally what we call the bathroom, I think internationally they call the water closet. Um, the plot moves too quickly with too little time to dwell on the antagonist or on any of the questions of morality season 1 had posed. In the end, the movie ended up being a lot more satisfying. Oh, without having watched Psychopaths, I couldn't really much commentary on that. I'll Noah Zero. I watched this more recently, so let's see what they have to say, what their criticism here is, and see if I tend to agree. Although Zero caught attention with a bold series premiere and deuteragonist Slain and Inaho. I believe that's dual agonist. So, caught up on opposite sides of a war between Mars and Earth. One that begins with an attempt on the life of a Martian princess. The show starts to fall apart quickly, though, mostly due to sloppy character execution that makes Inaho seem emotionless and the princess a hypocrite. Slain, meanwhile, is subjected to a horrendous series of events, and by the end of season one, had been transformed through torture and manipulation into a villain for season two. Mm, yeah, they kind of nailed that one on the head. The entire situation is incredibly contrived and only gets worse through season two until Slain is put in prison for life and used as a scapegoat for the whole war by the princess he adores. It's a shame since Slain and Inaho um, would have made for a vastly better show working together if only they'd stopped shooting at each other with their mechas for 5 seconds to talk and realize they actually both want to keep the princess alive. Well, that's the thing, though. When you have a mecha series, that's what's expected. Shooting at each other with mechas. Darling in the Franxx. Darling in the Franxx um, feels like one of those shows that thinks it's a lot better than it actually is, and it squandered every opportunity to actually be that really great show. With a distinct Evangelion feel at the start, Darling in the Franxx um, seemed poised to take on questions about love and sexuality in a deeper way via mecha. Especially with the way the male and female pilots are positioned, with the girls kneeling in front of the boys in a distinctly sexual. Okay. 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 Let's see. I hadn't picked up on that at all. Let's see. Al Bundy's favorite show, Psycho Duct. All right. Oh, all right. Anyways, a little too close to the YouTube. That right there. All right. So, anyways, back to this. The inability of one of the women to pilot due to her um, sexual orientation, as well as the arrival of pilots who don't follow the traditional gender pairings or position. Oh God. Is this them trying to be woke? Oh God. Um, seem to shout that Darling in the Franxx is actually going to get serious about tearing down gender roles in mainstream anime. But of course, that didn't actually happen. Instead, love triangles and flashbacks to prove just what complete soulmates Zero Two and Hero are take over the show, culminating in a confusing ending that involves space travel and the power of love. What a way! Yeah, it sounds like kind of a garbage piece. Squandered opportunities might be more frustrating than anything else, simply because it is so easy to imagine how an anime could have been amazing. Well, yeah, when you're talking about pairing up men and women to pilot mechas in sexual positions, yeah, that can be tricky. Let's see. Sometimes circumstances like a time crunch give disaster shows a bit of an excuse, but with others, there's just no explaining how they went so wrong. With studios like Trigger and Ufotable, and the minds behind shows like Angel Beats and Fate Zero, these animes had no reason to turn out as badly as they did. What are some what while some could redeem themselves with movies or a possible reboot sometime in the future, other anime on the list will simply go down as massive disappointment. Well, okay, of the ones that I watched, I don't feel they were the ones that I watched that we just read about here. I don't think they were really that disappointing. I could see some of the criticism here, but I don't think it's as bad as this writer wanted to make it sound. It's Lara Adams here. Let's go ahead and try to get through as many of these. See, what time is it now? Hour 39. Oh boy. Yeah, yeah, actually I'll let you guys talk cuz I'm going to try to blast through these cuz we got like five more, let's see, five more to go here. Tribe 9 is Danganronpa creators' new anime video game webtoons franchise. Akatsuki, 2Q Games, and Funimation reveal new details about Tribe 9, their new combat baseball franchise from the creators of Danganronpa. Okay. Article by Michael Lacerna, published 7 hours ago. Try to really blast through these last articles. New details have been released about Tribe 9, an ambitious new multimedia franchise from the creators of Danganronpa series. The new franchise is taking place in a colorful but post-apocalyptic world in the city of Tokyo. I guess it's supposed to be Tokyo, albeit spelled in a very weird way, at least from what we've seen, which is loosely based on the real 23 wards of Tokyo. Okay, New Tokyo. Okay. Um, in the new lawless society, various factions emerge who compete for control of the city through a new, more extreme version of baseball that is played with high tech bats and mitts, kind of like the Jetsons, that can also transform into weapons. Um, the new series is the latest creation from Kazutaka Kodaka, um, who also created the cult classic Danganronpa series of video games and anime adaptations. Kodaka is once again joined by Danganronpa character designer Rui Komatsuzaki and composer Masafumi Takada. The anime side of the franchise will be co-produced by anime publisher Funimation and animation studio Linden Films, who are best known for producing the anime adaptation of Tokyo Revengers. The anime will star Rent-A-Girlfriend's Shun Horie, as its main protagonist, Haru Shirogane, and veteran voice actor Akira Ishida as the voice of Shun Akiyama. Ishida, okay. Um, Ishida is best known as the voice of Naruto's Sanninja Gaara, as well as Mobile Suit Gundam Seed's Atham Zala. The anime series will debut in Japan and on Funimation streaming service in January 2022. A smartphone action RPG is also in the works. The game will be co-developed by Japanese mobile game studio Akatsuki, um, who previously which means dawn, just for those who want to know, who previously collaborated with Final Fantasy publisher Square Enix and on Romancing Saga Ray Universe, a mobile game spinoff of Akatoshi Kawazu's long-running experimental RPG series. The game's design work is being handled by Kodaka's 2Q Games, which was founded in 2017 by members of Danganronpa and Zero Escape development teams. After they left their original video game studio, Spike Chunsoft, 2Q Games is best known for its 2020 adventure 2D platforming game Worlds End Club, which was initially released on iOS and macOS devices as an exclusive for the Apple Arcade subscription service, but was later ported to Nintendo Switch. The new Tribe 9 game currently has no release date. A webtoon based on Tribe 9 is also in development, but was not shown. While many of the key members of the original game's development teams have now left Spike Chunsoft, the company recently announced a new game in the series, Danganronpa S Ultimate Summer Camp, which blends elements of RPGs with board games and features characters from all three previous games in the series. The game is scheduled for release on Nintendo Switch on December 3rd. All right, let me check the time real quick. You guys said anything to me directly that I need to answer for? Okay, nope. Hour 45. Okay. Moving on here. All right, so here's the next story. Vampire Space Race anime Irina joins Funimation's fall lineup. Funimation confirms that it will stream Irina, the Vampire Cosmonaut, a new anime about vampires being involved in a Cold War-inspired space race. Sounds interesting. Article by Haley McCullough, published 7 hours ago. Funimation has officially confirmed that Irina, the Vampire Cosmonaut, originally published under the title Suki to Raika to Nosferatu, or The Moon, Laika, and the Blood-Sucking Princess in Japan, will be a part of the streaming service is fall 2021 anime lineup. The vampire science fiction anime will be one of many series premiering on Funimation this fall, including Banished from the Hero's Party, I Decided to Live a Quiet Life in the Countryside, Rumble Garandal, The Vampire Dies in No Time, and the second seasons of Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, and Yashahime, Princess Half Demon. Produced by Studio Arvo Animation, Monster Girl Doctor, Irina, the Vampire Cosmonaut, presents an alternate history of the world post World War II, where vampires are forced to serve as test pilots for experimental rockets um, during the space race. Anime is directed by Akitoshi Yokoyama from Rules Rain and Photo Kano, with Hiromi Kato, Needless, I'm Going to Be an Angel, designing the characters, and Yasunori Misuda, Chrono Trigger, Black Butler, Book of Murder, composing the music. The cast includes several popular, experienced voice actors like Megumi Hayashibara. Well, those are just two of her art, but she's been in a number of things over the years. Fully Goally Progressive, One Piece. I know she was in the Saber Marionette series as the titular Irina Luminesque. Koki Uchiyama, My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen as Lev Leps. Satoshi Hino, Haikyuu, and Vinland Saga as Mikhail Yashin. Irina, the Vampire Cosmonaut, is expected to premiere on Funimation sometime this October. And then we'll move on to the next article here. Okay, so how many more? I think we got 3 more to go here. Yeah, got 3 more to go here. So try to blast through these best I can here. All right. So now some of you might want to be paying attention to this one because this one harkens back to some of our childhoods here. Discotech is finally bringing the Japanese Gobots to the West. So I guess this is the Japanese Gobots that the cartoon was based on back in the day. Machine Robo was the franchise Tonka used to create Gobots, but its anime Revenge of Kronos was night and day compared to the Hanna-Barbera's cartoon. So some of you might remember the Hanna-Barbera cartoon growing up, the Gobots, well, this is the Japanese version of that. This is the anime version of that, I guess. By Timothy Donahue, published 6 hours ago. There's Fightor right there in the middle. One of the most famous cartoons of the 1980s was Hanna-Barbera's Challenge of the Gobots. This cartoon, which adapted Tonka's Gobots toy line, was like the plastic source material rival to Hasbro and Takara's. The plastic source material rival to Hasbro and Takara's The Transformers. Remembered by many as a lower quality franchise, Gobots is more made fun of than fondly remembered by nostalgia fans. However, in Japan, the franchise took on a much cooler form. Machine Robo was the Japanese franchise that Tonka used to create Gobots. But its anime, Revenge of Kronos, was night and day compared to Hanna-Barbera's cartoon, combining space opera and mecha anime action. Machine Robo, Revenge of Kronos, is a metaphorical look at what Gobots franchise could have been beyond spawning several sequels and spin-offs. The original series is now being brought to the West through anime licensing company Discotech. Here's what anime fans should know about Japan's take on the Transformers' Forgotten Cousins. Revenge of Kronos. The original Transformers cartoon was very much a collaboration between the East and the West, with the Japanese exclusivity of later shows making them officially anime. For the first 3 seasons, however, the show was merely dubbed into Japanese and brought to the land of the rising sun. Yeah, they're talking about, of course, the first two seasons that we saw in the States, and then the Headmaster series. But Japan took the Headmaster series in another direction. That wasn't an option for Popey, Bandai, and their Machine Robo line, as they didn't want to dub the Challenge of the Gobots cartoon due to the dubious quality. Having run the Transforming Toy franchise for several years without a media arm, Popey finally decided to have Ashi Productions, known for working on mecha shows, create a Machine Robo anime. The resulting show, Revenge of Kronos, remixed what little franchise narrative had previously been introduced, setting the show on the planet Kronos. There, machine robots lived. Machine robots lived in various tribes, with many of these machines, such as protagonist Rome Stoll, being humanoid androids that resembled robots such as Mega Man or Astro Boy. They fought off the invading aliens known as Gyandler, who were made up of predominantly of show exclusive foes with no toys. Since basically all of the machine robos were heroes, this meant that renegades from Gobots such as Psykill and Coptor, known in Machine Robo as simply Bike Robo and Gyro Robo, were good guys. What would they call it? Starting off as fairly episodic, the show eventually began to focus more on longer arcs, with different tribes of heroes and villains being introduced. These included the stony transforming rock people, known in the West as Rock Lords. Rom Stoll would also combine with the larger Kinryu robot and take on his final Baikonfu form, making the series a true giant robot story. The legacy of Machine Robo. The series lasted for 47 episodes, although it's believed it was meant to have a total of 52. This span of episodes speaks to the show having been at least marginally popular, although it was never quite as well known as Transformers. Ironically, Revenge of Kronos lasted from 1986 to 1987, the final waning years of popularity for the original G1 Transformers cartoon in the West. This version of the franchise would continue with two OVAs and a light novel featuring Rom and his sister Lena. Reborn into another world as humans, the duo eventually meet versions of their familiar Machine Robo friends. This essentially made the series into one of the earliest examples of isekai anime. In later 1987, a new anime was produced titled Machine Robo Battle Hackers, which told an original story with all new characters. 2003's Machine Robo Rescue was more child-oriented, remixing old-school Machine Robo designs for Earthbound emergency adventure stories. The next and so far last permutation of the franchise was the toy line Mugenbean, in which the machine robots transformed into different modes via powerful transforming cubes. Although it didn't receive an anime, it did get several CGI commercial trailers. The now original Revenge of Kronos anime and its fiction are what the franchise is still most known for. So it's no mystery as to why Discotek chose to finally fully localize the entry. Planned for an early 2022 release, Machine Robo, Revenge of Kronos, will be getting a Blu-ray print in the West with every episode featuring English subtitles. This is the first time the entire series has come out in the West. Finally, giving fans a look at how the Japanese handled the Gobots, the later OVAs with Rome and Lena will also be included, as well as a pilot animated film. While these robots may not be quite as well known as the Autobots and Decepticons, the legacy of Machine Robo proves there's still much more than meets the eye to the robots that would become Leader One and Psycho. All right, so let me see where I'm at now because I know I got two more stories here, but I don't know if I'm going to do them because I think we're running pretty short on time now. Yeah, we're at an hour 50 already, so I got still got I granted I was planning for 9 stories, but I still got through 7. So how do you guys feel? Do you guys like what I brought to you tonight? Think it's a good time to start thinking about wrapping up. I know Nick is streaming tonight. But well, actually no, he streamed earlier today. Toys Bounty Hunters I saw over there earlier. Let's see. Yes, Mike. All right, guys. We're at oh wow, we're actually at an hour 59. It looks like so we're actually right on the 2 hour mark here. It looks like, or just about. So, all right. Well, we might run a little past. Oh shoot, howdy action. All right, guys. Well, I think it'd be a good time to start wrapping up. Then, are you guys ready for this day in niche history? Nikkei time. History. Nietzsche. All right. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started on this night in or this day in niche history. See. All right. So today being the final day of September for 2021. This is Thursday, September 30th, 2021. Let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in niche history. And first first thing we're going to of course look at is kind of a follow-up to what we were talking about yesterday, as on this date back in 2006, the second day of the IWA Mid-South Ted Petty Invitational Tournament took place. In the main event of the night, saw in a triple threat match here, in a three-way elimination match, Low Key defeated Eric Cannon and Roderick Strong. So Key, again, as I said, Low Key defeated Eric Cannon and Roderick Strong to win the 2006 TPI, to win the Invitational. In a match for the IWA Mid-South Heavyweight Championship, Chuck Taylor defeated Toby Klein to become the new IWA Mid-South Heavyweight Championship. In a loser leaves IWA-MS for 6 months match for the IWA Mid-South Light Heavyweight title, John Abercrombie defeated Tyler Black to retain the title and send Black away from IWA Mid-South. Now, you guys wouldn't know Tyler Black, or you wouldn't know him by the name Tyler Black. Tyler Black is currently WWE superstar Seth Rollins. So this is back earlier on in Seth Rollins' career. See, in a 6-team invitational Royal Rumble style match, you saw the tag team of the North Star Express, composed of Darren Corbin and Ryan Cruz, defeating the likes of B-Boy and Ricky Reyes, Eric Stevens and Scorpio Sky, Jigsaw and Gran Akuma, Colt Cabana and Kevin Steen, and Arrogance, team of Chris Bosh and Scott Lost. Also, initially in a tag team match between the Iron State and the Tomaselli brothers and Tarek the Great and American Kickboxer, that match ended up in a no contest due to the fact that Tarek turned on his partner, American Kickboxer. Actually, let me check something here because I think. Let me check something here. Oh no, it wasn't who I thought it was. It wasn't who I thought it was. Okay, never mind then. Oh, that one. But anyways, so that match ended up in a no contest with Tarek and Kickboxer brawling to the back, coming out the tag team of Blackout and tag team Blackout, followed by the Tomaselli's brothers Brandon and Ricochet. And the match was turned into a 6-man tag in which Blackout and Ricochet won. So that's all of the matches from that. That's all the matches. I think this was a tournament night. But anyways, so on this day back in 2006, which is 15 years ago, the night 2 of the Ted Petty Invitational took place. The East West Chester North Stars Championship. Yeah, I know it's quite a bit of a. Believe it or not, IWA Mid South is a wrestling organization even to this day. It's an indie hardcore style, started up back in the late 90s by Axel Rotten. Okay, so they're based out of, I think, Kentucky. So, anyways, moving on now. 2006 is just so nice that we got to hit it twice. It's also on this date in 2006. This day in 2006, the anime Fighting Beauty Wulong Rebirth, which is a follow-up to Fighting Beauty Wulong, would finish its run on TV Tokyo. So the second season of Fighting Beauty Wulong Rebirth, would complete its run on TV Tokyo on this date in 2006. And finally, good old '06. Yeah. Well, think about that too. I mean, if I don't know if any of you are watching I haven't been watching it myself as much. I kind of know a little bit about what's going on, but any of you have seen Seth Rollins on there, think about it. He's been at least in the bit, and see him and Kevin Steen, who's Kevin Owens in the WWE right now as well. Those two guys, AJ Styles, they were all around back in those days, 15 years ago. Think about that. Anyways, our last piece of niche history takes us to 2009. Last piece. Okay, so let's see what. And Toys just has the 3 dots going there. All right. So, anyways, now we head ahead to 2009, which was 12 years ago today. As on this date today, the 80th issue of Darkness from Image Comics' Top Crow imprint went on sale on this date back in 2009, 12 years ago today. 80th issue of Darkness from Image Comics' Top Crow imprint went on sale on this date back in 2009, 12 years ago today. Cover price of $2.99, 32 pages. So with that, guys, I know I went a little over tonight. Didn't get to all the stories that I'd want, but I did get through most of them. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Don't forget, tomorrow is Friday. So back out, I'll be sending you the StreamYard link sometime in the middle part of the day. We'll be finishing up our May of 1938 coverage in the historical comic retrospect. We'll be talking about the comics that went on sale from Centaur and David McKay. We'll be looking a little bit, at Ace Comics number 15. One of the characters featured in there, of course, was the Phantom, who we talked a little bit about earlier. As well as Centaur, we'll be reading some selections from the first, even though in the Indicia, it's claims to be the 8th issue of the first volume, but the first issue of Keen Detective Stories from Centaur. So, give best wishes to the little dude. I'll buy him ice cream when you guys come to Minnesota. Yeah, hopefully Lazarus' leg is okay there, ATC. I'll hold you to that. Are they letting Canadians in again? Well, it wouldn't be that hard for. I mean, I think Toronto is pretty much right there near, or Kitchener might be right there, right a few miles away from Minnesota. I don't think it'd be that hard for them to cross. But, anyways, we went 2 hours and 10 minutes tonight. So, anyways, guys, tomorrow night is the Stokel Comics retrospect. I hope to see you all back here. And don't forget, Monday, as per request of Leto, I'm going to spend the show reading a story that I started a few years ago for you guys. I kind of decided to do this just to show you my writing style because I know Leto was thinking I should write for Critical Blast, but I don't think my writing style be suit. I'm more verbal than anything else, but figured I'd share what I've written. Story I started a few years ago on this Monday. So with that, let's get these last comments. Winnipeg is next to North. Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. Canada is building a wall. New York is a 45-minute drive. So in Canada, it's okay to build a wall to keep people out, but not America, huh? Minutes. That's right. You're Ontario. Okay. All right, guys. Well, anyways, thank you for being here tonight. I look forward to you guys being back here tomorrow. Batgoat, I will send you the StreamYard link tomorrow around midday sometime. So be looking for it. And as always, I hope you'll get in there a little early. See. Hop in a jump from Thunder Bay. There's going to be sound activated turrets and flamethrowers. Laugh out loud. Peace out. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you again. Thanks for all the likes and shares. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.